All right, guys. So we got a little bit of news I want to share with you. It's not good news. It's actually pretty sad news. If it reaches all the way up here to Angeles City, then it must be pretty important. But anyways, you know, the articles read, there's a bunch of headline news here. Ex-U.S. Marine in Cebu kills 2, killed by police in shootout. Talisay tragedy, 3 deaths, a burning house, and an hour-long shootout. In other words, there was a shootout in Talisay, Cebu City, involving a U.S. Marine or an ex-U.S. Marine that left 2 people dead, house on fire. But anyways, I'm going to go on and I'm going to read what the article says. It says, Cebu City, Philippines. Who would have thought that a silent village of Lawan 3 in Talisay City could witness 3 gruesome deaths in 3 hours? Barangay Councilor Socrates E. Chavez could not believe that his childhood friend, Barangay Captain Jimmy Bartolic, who he spent more than 30 years of his life, would die at the hands of a former Marine. E. Chavez was with Bartolic also slain Jeb Yabanez, former police officer Bobby Oma, and a barangay tandan when they went to the house of former U.S. Marine Dean Tora Franca to settle a property dispute. So this was all over a property dispute. The barangay councilor witnessed how Tora Franca lifted a high-powered gun and chased all 5 of them away from his house. When we saw the long firearm, we all ran in different directions, but he shot our captain and Jeb, says E. Chavez. E. Chavez said that they felt fear during the incident when they heard multiple gunshots and watched 2 people die. Yet hours before the shootout, Chavez thought it was going to be a peaceful settlement between the camp of Yabaz and Tora Franca. Oman and the uncle of Yabaz, the brother-in-law of Tora Franca, thought so too. Sorry if I'm butchering these words and these names. I apologize. But from the articles I read in the past, evidently they had went, this is a property dispute, and they had went to the barangay at City Hall and tried to work out, you know, the property dispute between these two parties. Says a settlement. Omana, a former police officer, accompanied his nephew to claim the property of his sister, former Lawan 3rd Village Chief Delia Yibanez Torrefranca, who married Dean Torrefranca after her first husband's death. Delia passed away 40 days ago. So she was married prior, and then she remarried to this Dean Torrefranca after her first husband passed away. Omana said that Delia's house and the 2 cars were bought during her first marriage with Jed's father, and so Jed and her sister would likely claim the properties. Around 9 a.m. on Thursday, May 16th, the settlement began at the Barangay Lawana 3 Hall, president by Barangay Chief Bartolic. Obama said Jed simply wanted to see the documents left by her dead mother in a vault within the house where he grew up, but was now under the care of Tora Franco. Goes on to say, Tora Franco already planned it because when we arrived in the house, why did he get a firearm when we agreed to be there only to open the vault and see what was inside the vault? So I guess they went there to see what was inside the vault. I guess the documents that they were looking for. Omana knew that there was money inside the vault as well, since he was aware that her sister made a lot of money from her businesses. However, he said Jeb was after the documents for the property of the parents. So there it is. They went there to get the documents of the parents. Amana survived the shooting because he ran in the opposite direction from the barangay captain and Jed, who were both killed by multiple shots of Tora Franco's firearms after they were cornered inside a neighbor's house. Omana said he would would be contacting Delia's daughter in Canada on what to do with the properties now that Jed was dead. It says a 1-hour shootout. Minutes after the death of Jed and Bartolek, the police responded to the alarm. The presence of smoke irked Torrefranca, who began to set the house on fire. So I guess the alarms of the police irked Torrefranca, and he set his own house on fire. He didn't have to go. He did not want to be caught alive, said Talisay City Deputy Chief Police Major Cabagnat. Cabagnat led the group team composed of 50 policemen during the action to neutralize the armed assailant. And he admitted it was difficult to penetrate the house because of the smoke around it. He said that during the entire shootout, they tried to call to Torrefranca to surrender, but the former U.S. Marine had other plans. We heard that he had guns, grenades, and equipment inside. We could not underestimate his capability because he was an ex-Marine, said Cabagnat. They tried to put out the fire through the help of the Bureau of Fire Protection, but putting out the fire only brought on more smoke and less visibility for the Talisay police sharpshooters. It took more than an hour to subdue Torrefranca, who kept shooting at the policemen, almost getting one of the members of the PIB, the Provincial Intelligence Branch. The PIB had a graze wound on his forehead. He was immediately treated and was safe. Cabagnat, Talisay Police Station Deputy Chiefs, said that it was difficult to see because of the smoke caused by the fire burning in the house. It promoted him to move to another location, and he found a right spot just in front of the house. Cabagnat claimed that it was his exchange of gunfire with the suspect from his vantage point in another house that ended the shootout with Torrefranca. Goes on to say, we kept shooting, but we noticed that there was no more return fire. When we checked, Torrefranca lay dead in the spot where I was shooting at, said Cabagnat. Cabagnat said that the former U.S. Marine did show his prowess in the field of combat during the shootout, but it could not match that of the determined Talisay police. Then it says, a village in mourning. Bartolek's grandson Ivan said the death of his grandfather shocked everyone in the family. He said it was most worried of his grandmother, who almost faded when she heard of Bartolek's death. The family has still yet to decide on the plans to put to rest the remains of their patriarch. As a former employee of Barangay Lawana III, they said a certain kind of grief has been felt at the barangay hall after the chief's death. Chavez, with tears on his eyes, told CDN Digital that they lost a brave but kind chief who was not afraid to be a father to everyone. Meanwhile, the Talisay city government has condemned the tragic incident that killed Bartolek and Yabanez in a statement. So all this, from my understanding, from what I'm reading, is all over a land dispute. That's the thing here. Land, foreigners, things like this happen. You know, I was talking to Lut. If you're new to the channel, Lut's my wife, my Filipino wife, and I told her about this, and I was reading this to her, and she said unless there's something in writing that she said what it comes down to is conjoinal property. The husband, the son, daughter, whoever's involved, it becomes conjoinal property. And I know people are going to say, well, foreigners cannot own property here. Well, that's true. They cannot own property. But there are laws out there that protect the foreigner when they buy the property. Perfect example, Lut has a friend who was married to a foreigner. They split up. They bought a house while they were married. They split up, and I think I think they might even have an annulment now. But the ex-husband wants to sell the house, but the Filipino ex-wife doesn't want to sell the house. So now the house sits. When it becomes conjoinal property, if there's children involved and some want to sell it and others don't want to sell it, they have to agree upon it. If not, the house cannot be sold. And what happens a lot of time is houses will sit here. Perfect example, right across the street from our Sorry store is a property, and it's sitting empty. Family dispute. Some family members want to sell the property. Others don't want the property sold, so there it sits. I guess from reading here, they were trying to get these documents to see what these documents read. But it becomes, like Lutz said, conjoinal property. And if one can't agree on it and the other one can't agree, then the house just sits. I'm only reading what's being presented here on the news. You know, we don't know the whole entire details of what happened. We don't know what was going on. Like I told Lud, I said, you know, in a situation like that, and it's easy for me to say it because I'm sitting here, I'm not in that situation, but maybe the ex-Marine should have went and found a lawyer. And I'm not talking a lawyer within the barangay there where they live, because yes, everybody knows everybody. I would have went outside the barangay to a big city, consulted a lawyer, got my own personal lawyer involved to make sure that, you know, you have rights and I had rights. But we don't know, and like I said, I'm only reading what I'm seeing on, you know, on the news here. Nobody knows the whole entire, you know, story unless you were there and you were the ones involved. But you know what, it's sad something like this happens. You know, for the most part, Filipinos will not resort to violence. They're not going to pull out guns and shoot you over land dispute. It happens, and when it happens, it makes the news. But when it doesn't happen, which is most of the time, it's not making the news. It's sad. You know, it's sad that it had to come to something like this. But anyways, like I said, if it comes up here to this area, Angeles City area on the news, it's big news. So anyways, I figured I'd share that with you. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think, you know. And like I said, land here in the Philippines, and it doesn't even have to be a foreigner involved, and it doesn't even have to be here in the Philippines. I've seen it even back in the States when a family member dies and one wants to take over everything and the others are, you know, fighting, you know, for the one not to take over, and this and that and back and forth, and it gets very, very ugly. But like I said, it doesn't only happen here in the Philippines, it happens all over the world. But anyways, leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys think, and I guess until next time.